Hello and welcome to Let's Talk Sport, and in this video we are going to look at which teams are under threat from the relegation in the Premier League. Well, we're pretty much at the near midway point this season. We thought, wow, sometimes the midway point starts to give you the kind of table we're looking at right now. And wow, let's start off with the Premier League table at the bottom with Sheffield United last, and as we record this, they won their first game last night of the season, which couldn't have come at a better time. A win over Newcastle United gives them 5 points at the moment after 18 games. West Bromwich Albion have a game in hand over Sheffield United with 8 points, so they're 3 points ahead. And Fulham are in the relegation spot as well at 18th with 11 points and 3 points off Brighton. But they have 3 games in hand over Brighton. So
as we speak,
because they are playing later on tonight as we record this against Tottenham Hotspur. But I mean,
Brighton are losing to the City at the moment as we record. So.
But I mean, that's old news by the time this goes out, Seb.
Yeah,
My
exactly,
God, as I say, you're called Seb False. There's a reason for that.
Hashtag false.
Hashtag false. Hashtag Seb, you're wrong. Joe, let's start off with you because I'm really peed off with Seb. Sheffield United, rock bottom, but I don't know. There's something about this Sheffield team where I'm not saying they'll get out of it, but maybe a win might just change things. I don't know. What do you think?
No.
Straight no.
No, they're down and out, let's be honest. Unless a miracle happens, I can't see him pulling off the great escape like West Brom did in 2005. I think they're long gone.
Or Leicester.
They're not going to. I don't think they're going to be as bad as Derby County with their 9 points in 2008.
Yeah,
I think they'll get more.
Yeah.
I think they'll get more points than that, but I think they won't be far off the worst points tally in the Premier League. They just look devoid of goals. Obviously, I didn't watch their game against Newcastle last night, but apparently they looked marginally better than Newcastle, and Newcastle just went at the races. They're another team that aren't going anywhere unless they get rid of their owner. It doesn't matter who the average manager Newcastle. Sheffield United, yeah. I'm surprised Chris Wilder is still in the job. Maybe it's because of his love for the club and his affiliation with the city of Sheffield. And the fact that the fans haven't turned against him, that's why he's still in the job.
Do they need to let him go if there's any chance of them staying up?
It's a difficult one because he's one of those managers, and I'm not bringing in the whole grudge that he has with Jurgen Klopp into this and leaving that aside, and I'm putting that aside. But he does seem stubborn in his ways, in my opinion, and he just doesn't seem to want to change up the style of play. And normally managers would have made a few changes. I'm not going to lie. I've not watched loads of Sheffield United games this season because they're quite boring. But I don't know. It just doesn't seem right. Something just doesn't seem right at that football club. I don't know whether. I'm not going to say it's because of COVID or the fans, because every football club has hardly had any fans. There's only been a couple of games. Obviously, the teams on Merseyside and a couple of clubs outside of that have had fans this season. But just something just doesn't seem right from the highs of nearly getting into Europe. Maybe the fact that they just missed out on Europe last season has just shook their confidence to the core. I'm not sure.
Seb, I mean, I can't see them staying up, Sheffield, but I guess maybe they look at Chris Wilder and think, look, if we go down to the Championship, then maybe we just look to build again with Chris Wilder at this point. I don't know. It just seems a bit odd, doesn't it? How it's been so bad this season, he's still there, which other clubs would have sacked him.
No, because this team should have never been in the Premier League in the first place. We're just looking by expectation that they should never be there. Even just last season was even more freakish that they did well. They're not that bad. They're not as bad as Derby. That's
I agree.
That I can say for sure. They're not great to watch, and they badly miss a goal scorer. But there are multiple things go wrong.
They just can't score for me.
I've mentioned this a lot to you lot, and there's something missing in that. Even just when balls go into their own box, they don't fight for balls. They don't try and get on the end of things. They stand still while play goes on in their own half. And then, on the other hand, when they do get chances, they can't score. And I'm curious. I've mentioned this even last season. I wasn't convinced with their transfers last season when you had the likes of Bergs and all that, who's probably been one of their better players when he has played. But why are they buying Oliver Berg? Oh, he's on loan, is he? Oliver Berg.
I think
why are they getting in Brewster for that price? Why are they getting in Ampadu? Ampadu has never looked decent in a top-flight match. given yesterday he actually played really well, and that was probably the first good match he played for him. Lowe that they bought. Who's behind the transfer policies? And even the season before, Muse came in. What are these transfers? They are spending a bit of money, but they're awful transfers. They're still relying on Lundstrom to bring the game to them. They're still relying on, Norwood less so. But the ones who are really bringing a lot to Sheffield are the ones who have been there for years. I think they are done. They are done. One other thing you have to say is only 3 games this season they've lost by more than 1 goal. And they've played against the Cities, the Liverpools, the Man Uniteds, and lost by 1 goal. All those matches. They lost by more to Crystal Palace, Southampton, and Wolves.
Yeah.
And those were only by 2 goals, I think.
Yeah.
They're not as bad as we make them out to be, but it's just they can't score. They barely can play midfield. They don't even try to get any chances anymore. I think they are done. And I don't think Chris Wilder will get the sack, even if they go down on 5 points now. I don't think he'll get the sack.
Interesting. I think. I mean, the other teams I want to talk about are West Brom and Fulham. First of all, West Brom. I remember I was speaking to you guys on our WhatsApp group chat, which I didn't like the idea of Slaven Bilic getting sacked. I thought, okay, not the best of starts to their Premier League season, but I thought, they're still a team that could probably stay out if they get it right. But Joe, Slaven Bilic is gone, Sam Allardyce is in, but it's got even worse since Big Sam has come in. Do you think he can save them? Because he's done it with other clubs.
No.
That
seems to be my answer today. No. No.
No.
You
sound like Jim off Vicar of Dipley, and then you're going to say yes.
No.
You haven't said that yet.
Wait until you get to Fulham, then I might say yes. To be honest, I think with West Brom, Slaven Bilic, it was really strange because they've just got a 1-1 draw at the Etihad, or Emptyad.
Yeah.
And it literally was empty as well. And then they go and sack Slaven Bilic, and I'm thinking they just got arguably the result of their season, and you're just sacking the manager, and he's got he could have got a run of games together there, got a run of results, and you bring in Sam Allardyce, which his football screams relegation scrap. And I was talking to Everton fans about him the other week when he was in charge at Everton, when they were struggling a couple of years ago, and they said it was the most boring football to watch.
Yeah.
They said it was the worst 6 months of their life. That's how bad it is. So West Brom fans, buckle up for some boring football. Okay, you might get the odd result here and there. Obviously, you got the draw at Anfield in the game, which nobody expects them to get, and he can make teams very bust. But in an attacking sense, it's just going to be so boring for West Brom fans to watch just long balls pumped forward and trying to find a target man. They need someone if they're going to play that system up front that can hold the ball up, and they haven't got it.
And they need goals to stay up, simple as that, and then it's going to improve. But so, what do you think of this whole transition that they've done?
I didn't like Bilic getting sacked because I thought he had probably the worst squad in the whole division. I mean, even behind Fulham and Sheffield United, I think he's got one of the worst squads. And then when you look at the last games, if we're excluding the Crystal Palace result where West Brom shipped in 5, all of Bilic's games in the Premier League this season, they've conceded exactly the same amount of goals under Bilic as Allardyce. So Allardyce is coming for 4 games and he's conceded 13 goals. That's not Allardyce. This is not, and I think I'm also coming way too late to the party by saying I think this is one too far for Allardyce to save West Brom. I think they are going down, and I'd argue that he's made them a lot worse at the moment.
And this is why
it's not only been dismal to watch. It's not only been dismal to watch. They are just bad.
This is what I stressed. This is what I stressed about when they made the transaction even before he started his first game. It just didn't feel right. I don't know. Isn't Bilic in China now anyway?
Yeah,
I can't say.
He's just gone to a club in China. Can't remember which one it is off the top of my head.
He's done all right.
Is it Hebe Fortuna?
3-year contract as well. So the fact that he'll forget about West Brom very quickly, I'm sure, and he'll probably laugh if they go down. Maybe, who knows? Anyway, let's talk about Fulham.
I want to also say something before the end of January. West Brom still got 4 games in a tight schedule. Against Wolves, West Ham, Manchester City, and Fulham. They lose against Fulham, for instance, which is not the extraordinary. I think it's over already.
Yeah, 6-pointer. Yeah,
and I actually think
Fulham look good.
I think Fulham actually look good, and I think Scott Parker is actually doing a good job.
Yeah, drawn 4 and lost once just in the last 5.
they're probably drawing too many games and that they could have won. Liverpool, typically, they should have won that game. They've got now 3 games in hand on Brighton. They're 3 points behind. If they continue their form, they're going to get 3 points and they'll be level on points. But I think they can seriously get out this Fulham. I think and bring Brighton to serious trouble.
Yeah, I think this is it, because I think this is, we'll have to talk about the rest now, but Fulham, Brighton, Burnley, maybe Newcastle. Newcastle are 15th of 19 points as we speak. So, that defeat to Sheffield just shows, under Steve Bruce, he can balance the team. They can now and again get some good results, but then they can have some embarrassing results. But it's not really changed much since Mike Ashley's been at the club for how many years?
I might be being very hyperbolic, but that performance against Sheffield United, given the context as well, the fact that it's last in the league, they've not won a game all season, that was probably one of the worst top flight games I've seen from one team ever. That Newcastle performance was embarrassing, really embarrassing. And I think just on that alone, you could get the sack.
Yeah,
I can understand Newcastle supporters wanting Mike Ashley out because not only they're not getting results anymore, because they're not far off relegation zone. I mean, if you think about it, Fulham winning their games in hand, Newcastle are about 5 points behind, maybe, I don't know, ahead of their relegation. It's not impossible that they get drawn in there. And plus, given the fact they're playing against, at the moment, what, 8 points?
8 points ahead, but of course Fulham is, we know.
Yeah, if they won one a game and then Brighton go in. And the next game is against Arsenal, Leeds, Everton. They've got Crystal Palace, then Southampton, Chelsea, Man United, and Wolves. This is a tough set of fixtures. They could lose all those, realistically.
Yeah.
I don't think they will. And they could be drawn back in. And I think Steve Bruce went to Bramall Lane for a draw. I mean, a team that's only got 2 points in the Premier League, and you go to Bramall Lane for a draw. And our friend Burgoyne said, yeah, but you can't blame Steve Bruce because Fraser got the card. It was worse before he got the red card.
Yeah.
It was just so bad. Their passes in midfield just kept going array. It was terrible. I couldn't even believe I was watching that. Sheffield United, to their credit, played really well, but then against Newcastle, just awful. And I think Newcastle, if they keep faith in in Steve Bruce for too long, they will go down. Yeah, I'm pretty sure of that.
I think let's talk about Fulham quickly. I mean, there's something about Fulham I like. I don't know what it is. I mean, what I didn't like was what happened at the start of the season. There was straight away. I've got a friend who's a big Fulham fan, and we were talking about the start of the season. And I remember saying to him, straight away, people are jumping on Scott Parker's back and going, oh, they're going to go straight down again. And, I'm not saying they're wrong, obviously, but I just think people keep saying they went up too quickly. And I'm thinking, hang on, if you've got an opportunity to win the playoffs and earn a lot of money for the club, you're going to take it. They won it deservedly against Brentford. Brentford were great last season in the Championship. But, Fulham won it rightly. I think people are starting to realise they were a bit too harsh on Fulham at the start of the season, because there's something about Fulham, Joe, where they can get it right when it matters, and I think they will stay up. And I think for Scott Parker, it'd be great, especially how young he is as a manager.
I'll hold my hands up here and say I was one of those people at the start of the season that wrote Fulham
you
off
horrible man!
And thought Fulham would go straight down because I didn't think their squad was strong enough.
After your throat.
What's new? I thought they were going to go straight down. I didn't think the squad was strong enough. I didn't think Scott Park had enough experience as a manager, and I thought he'd be tactically inept. But I've been proven wrong. He's changed his style. He's developed himself a little bit, along the way, got some results. And I think that they've got potential, because obviously, I think, not being funny, but as a Liverpool fan, I think that result against Liverpool, that draw, the game they should have won, was pretty much the catalyst for a run of results where Fulham are pretty close to survival, and I think they will. I think they'll stay up. I think Brighton have been woeful, and unless they sack, I don't want them to sack a manager. I don't look at people, but I think Graham Potter's struggling. I think unless they change something there, they're just going to end up dropping into the relegation zone. And I think Fulham look like they could finish quite high. I think they could potentially. Let's just have a quick look at the table. I think they've got the potential to finish 15th. Instead of Newcastle.
I tell you what, before we get your thoughts, guys, I know you think the 3 teams will be relegated at the end of the season. Can we quickly give Burnley some credit? Because Sean Dyche, again, last summer, didn't have any money, didn't sign any players, and yet, okay, they might still get relegated, but they are the outside chance of doing that. But they've done it again, haven't they, under Sean Dyche, where they've got plenty of players there They've played in the Premier League enough to know what's required to keep a team up. And they're doing it again. And they gave United a great game last night as we record this. I think they deserve a bit of credit if they could stay up again, Seb, knowing that they were the only club that didn't make any signings in the summer.
Yeah, this is Burnley. And also, I mean, I remember last season when the lockdown was lifted and they started the season again, that Sean Dyche had no one on his bench. He absolutely had no one. He made the least amount of substitutes because he had no one there. All the players were refusing to sign extensions, etc. There were problems in the club there. And as you said, Burnley might go down. I'll say this very confidently now. Burnley will not go down.
They won't, yeah.
Burnley will not go down. And you can hold me up to that until the end of the season. I'm pretty confident that they won't go down.
Mathematically, they're there, but yeah, it doesn't feel like they'll go down.
And yeah, it's not impossible mathematically, but the way they play, they can defend so well, even against United, who are pushing for top of the table, and probably unlucky to concede the goal that he did against United. That being said, if they do get some injuries, who knows what could happen? They had Dwight McNeil out for a while, and they still battled through, didn't they? And I think Sean Dyche, it's a matter of time now before he does move on from Burnley or he gets the right support. New American owners apparently coming in, and that's apparently going to go through, no problem, and they're going to invest in players. Good for him. Let's see what he can do now if he gets a bit more money.
And he deserves it, doesn't he? You know, he deserves. I hope he gets the backing. I'm sure he will.
And that's their plan. The Americans apparently it's to keep Sean Dyche. He is part of the whole project. Yeah. I'm not a big fan of Sean Dyche. He complains.
Do you not like Sean Dyche? The way he speaks.
He'll complain about people falling over too easily, and then when his team don't get the penalty for it, then he'll just rant on for weeks on end.
Do you not think he's a genius, Sean Dyche? You know, Seb, he's a genius.
Dinosaur tactics.
It's a great game, great goals, and great ability to score. And
yeah, but Burnley won't go down, I don't think.
You know what? I'm going to wrap up this video and ask you guys who you think sorry, I've been screaming at the ref again. Who you think the three teams will get relegated? Joe, starting off with you. I need a glass of water.
Sheffield United would go down bottom. I think West Brom and Brighton will say goodbye to the Seagulls. They'll dive bomb down.
The end of Potter, maybe. No magic there for Harry Potter. I mean, sorry, Gary.
I'm gonna bring up Brighton. We talked about Brighton at the beginning of the season. Have you?
Sorry.
Okay.
I am not a wizard. I'm a football manager.
Sorry. Oh, it's funnier than it should be. Go on, Seb.
Brighton, we were talking. I think a lot of people talked about how unfortunate they were at the beginning of the season, and I'd have agreed they should have been farther up at the table. But now it's bad. Now people keep talking about how Brighton have been unlucky. These past few weeks, they have not. They're genuinely quite bad now, and they're dropping down the table too quickly. So now we can start criticising Potter. But I think the bottom three, I'm going to quickly round it up. I mean, Sheffield, I think, will still be bottom no matter what. I think West Brom will still be before bottom, no doubt about that. I think Fulham will go on a run, actually, and I think they'll get above Newcastle, even Crystal Palace and Brighton. And then I've got a feeling that Newcastle will be the one that drop in. Because I think
imagine if so.
I think it
imagine
will be,
if so. That'd be their third relegation. I
think it's also as I mentioned before, the fixtures that are coming up, and if they just dropped like a stone in the next 7 match days, then that could be problematic. And I think also Crystal Palace might run it close. If you look at Crystal Palace, I think we have to talk about them a bit, just a tiny bit. How many teams have they beaten this season? They've beaten Fulham, West Brom, Sheffield, and Leeds, and Man United. Sorry,
they've won 6.
It's not. Have they won 6? So they beat Sheffield, West Brom, Leeds, Fulham, and Manchester United. And they've won 4.
I've got here they've won 6, but that's just what the table says. I don't know which teams.
It looks like 5 here, but they've beaten the bottom 3, Man United on a weird day, and also Leeds, who just gifted them the win. So it's not good for Crystal Palace either. I'm scared for them, and I'm feeling that Roy Hodgson might be sacked.
Well, it could be a very open relegation battle, as of course last season it was decided on the very final day.